Moving on to another topic, let's talk about politicians getting reelected. I don't know if our current crop of politicians has lost their way, but it seems like everybody in Washington and a lot of people under the Gold Dome are more interested in getting reelected than actually being the public servants that they are elected to be. And it sounds to me like you want to be more of a public servant than actually a politician. And for that, I appreciate you. But let's take it one step further. What good is it for us to go out and cast our votes now when we have questions all around us about the validity of that very vote we cast? Both the fraud that is running rampant across this nation right now in the form of Acorn, SEIU, and other groups that are stepping in and doing some rather dastardly deeds with our voting process. Just what is it you will be able to do to ensure that we will have valid elections? And what is it in the candidates that are opposing you that you see as being a problem for them having been in those positions?
Well, you know, it's interesting. I think that those who are causing these problems in our voting process here in America, they're doing it for a couple of reasons. Number one, obviously to sway certain elections their direction. But number two, one of the, I think, almost unseen results of it to many people is that it destroys the confidence that the American people have in our system. And I think ultimately that's what the enemies of our liberty want to do. They want to destroy our confidence in our Republican form of government, our constitutional Republican form of government, and they want to turn us into another third world banana republic. And I think that's where we're headed. Now, I know here in Georgia we have a couple of issues we're dealing with secure elections. Number one is that our Secretary of State, who just stepped down, she's running against me in the race for governor. Karen Handel ran for office for Secretary of State in 2006, promising that she was going to get rid of the unverifiable electronic voting machines that we have here in Georgia, manufactured by Diebold. And those machines are manufactured by the same company that manufactures ATMs that spit out a paper receipt, and yet our voting machines have no paper trail whatsoever. They cannot be audited. The individual votes cannot be audited. They cannot be verified. We have numerous examples where inconsistencies occur in the voting data using these unverifiable electronic voting machines. Karen knew that when she ran for office. That's why she promised to get rid of it. However, one of the lobbying firms for that Diebold company made campaign contributions to Karen Handel's predecessor, who was a Democrat. Well, once Karen became the Secretary of State, they've now been making campaign contributions to her over these last several years. And so now you have still this same problem of those electronic voting machines. Karen did not want to deal with this issue because it's beginning to come to a head in the court system, and so she decided to get out of the hot seat by stepping down, and there's a new Republican who was appointed until the election takes place. But we've got to get rid of these electronic voting machines that cannot be verified. We absolutely have to do that. That's the first problem. The second problem, though, here in Georgia is that several months ago, the Obama Justice Department ordered the state of Georgia to stop verifying citizenship of people registering to vote in our state elections. I think it's pretty obvious to anyone that people registering to vote here in Georgia, they have the same ability to go register to vote no matter what their skin color is, no matter what their sexual preference is, or any list of other checklist items you could come up with. People today do not have a problem registering to vote in our elections here in Georgia. But it should be the right of any state to guarantee their citizens that only citizens are voting in their elections. Again, Karen Handel just stepped down as Secretary of State. Her response to this Obama Justice Department memorandum was to say, well, we will ask the Obama Justice Department to reconsider the matter. Well, since when has a Marxist ever reconsidered anything? They're not going to reconsider it. And she said, well, if they don't reconsider it, we'll send it through the federal courts a third time. It's already been through twice. She said, we'll send it through a third time. Well, my point is that why should we allow the federal courts to decide for us whether we're going to secure our own elections? It is not only the right of the state of Georgia to secure our elections, it is the constitutional duty that the Secretary of State of Georgia takes an oath of office to uphold, is to secure the elections in the state of Georgia. So it does not matter what the federal courts rule. It does not matter what the Obama Justice Department hands down. It must be changed. We must continue to secure our elections no matter what federal intrusions come our way. And until we do that, we're going to continue to lose voter confidence in our system, in our valuable way of life, and we're going to continue to have results from various elections that we don't really know if they're accurate or not.
What are you going to be able to do about that as governor? What would you be able to do to change that situation?
Well, I can tell you as governor, there will be much heat put upon whomever is the Secretary of State to put in the necessary requests to get the electronic voting machines changed here in Georgia. We need to do away with unverifiable electronic voting machines altogether. And you know, I've had people say, well, you know, what if the Secretary of State doesn't do that? Well, I assure you that the governor, as the highest executive of the state of Georgia, he can bring pressure to bear. And the truth is, it is the executive branch's responsibility to execute the laws, to see that they're carried out. And I'll tell you, if I have a Secretary of State here in this state of Georgia who is not securing our elections, I will begin the process of working to remove them altogether, even as a constitutional officer, if they're not following the Constitution, because the governor must enforce the Constitution. That's his number one responsibility.